We are back. We just finished the NBA rundown here on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel, but now we are talking touchdowns. But Title, I see you join me. We're both wearing black. We're in mourning as the terrible injury suffered by Jimmy G yesterday really put a damper on what I felt was a great day of football. But we'll get into that a little later. Overall, how was your NFL Sunday? Was it free money Sunday for you yesterday, Title?
It was as free as it gets, Brett. Anything I touched turned into gold. It was like Thanksgiving. So, I mean, man, Mondays feel nice when everything you touch turns into green. Great Sunday. Solid weekend overall. I mean, it was a great night of fights on Saturday. Hoop won big there. Stayed up late, get up early, make some money in football. No complaints. Got NBA today. Good slate I saw. Showdown. Life is good, Spread.
I want to touch on those fights real quick, Title, while we got you here. What the hell was Kevin Holland's game plan? Like,
just like I thought it was.
You have the wrestling advantage. You get him on the ground. He's like, nah, we're not wrestling.
That's big mouth.
But then when Thompson got him on the ground, I wanted him to start ground and pounding him so bad. Like, you're not getting up. Like, I'm holding you here for the rest of the fight.
He was doing it for a little while. He just knew he didn't need to stay down there. But yeah, it was what we wanted. I was on Wonder Boy.
Great call by you. 0 fight IQ points by Holland.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason. I knew he was going to want to stand in.
And you would think he would have took something out of his last fight where they were like, yeah, Chimaev, dude has faster hands than you. Just wrestle him. He just runs out, grabs him, throws him on the ground, and has nothing. Has none of that.
Yeah.
No, he just said, I'm going to strike with this guy.
Strike with one of the better strikers.
And we cashed the over 9.5 high fives in that fight because all they did was high five after every exchange.
Yeah. Holland's a funny dude.
All right. Well, I missed those fights, but it sounded like you guys had a good time. And of course, our guy Hoop cashed. Was he using your core though, Title? Was that the core that he used?
He put in 7 tournaments. It wasn't just he had 2 of the 3 guys in my core, but he just followed the playbook. And yeah, I mean, I had 7 in there too. I didn't win and he won. So who picks more winners?
Of course, if you want to get access to those winning cores, head on over to runpuresports.com, become a member. We just keep winning, Title. I mean, it's just
we got another Millie winner. We had a member take down the Millie.
Crazy.
Did we?
Yep.
$90.
I've been so out of it. I'm just like still not 100%.
$90 into $1 million spread. Beat that ROI.
yeah, boy. And we're just over here bragging because our playbooks hit. But the playbook did do good as well, Tyler. As we touted on the NBA rundown, 8-4 so far in the month of December on RPB tags. How did the RPB tags and the player props do yesterday on the NFL playbook?
Well, we had the Lions money line is my best bet from Friday's show. We also had that RPB tag that coasted. That was nice and easy. Our next RPB tag was the Niners minus 3.5. We got that home. We got some Mangone Bucks home on that one also.
Yeah, I love that. Love that.
We also had we had the Steelers RPB tag. Got that one home. They went into Atlanta, got the job done. Could have won that game by more, but Minka decided he was going to run out of the sideline at the end of the game.
Right.
I think, and then we had the Chiefs RPB tagged. That went down the drain. Joe Burrow's got Mahomes' number. And that was it for the RPB tag. So was that 3-1?
Yeah, 3-1. So we keep winning here over at Run Pure Sports. Come join us and get in on the winning. All right, talking touchdowns. What we do here first is we review the Sunday slate, and then, of course, we'll break down tonight's games. Let's talk about the return of Deshaun Watson. 27-14, but not really a lot. Deshaun Watson wasn't really a big reason here as the Browns and the Texans played. I thought the Texans might be able to hang for a little while, but just too many turnovers. And really, starting Kyle Allen was just saying, we have no intentions in winning this football game. Title, what did you think of Deshaun Watson's return?
Everything you said about this game is my exact thoughts. Deshaun didn't look great. They didn't want to just unleash him though. First game back, he only dropped back 22 times. They got out to a lead. I mean, first quarter they were down 3-0, but after that, the game was never really in jeopardy from them. Nick Chubb, I mean, he ran the ball pretty well, but the story was the defense. It's pretty easy to play football on the offensive end when your defense gets in the box, 3 times, or special teams 1, 2 defensive touchdowns or whatever it was. So, yeah, I mean, Kyle Allen is not an NFL quarterback. I mean, the Texans don't want to win. They're tanking. Deshaun didn't look great, though, but it's his first game back after a long time. The reunion going back home, all the people, like the 10 victims that came to, all the stuff surrounding it. Like, it's still early for him. So, it's Deshaun Watson. I'm not writing him off. I still think he has a lot to prove. I still think he has a lot of talent, but He didn't.
I do too, but how long is this going to take? I don't know if you can take, what was it, almost 2.5 years off of NFL football and then come back. Do you expect, do you think do you think he'll make one of your like main rosters? I'm not talking about 150 lineup, but a main roster by the end of the year.
I'd have to look at the schedule if they're in a dome. I mean, the problem is they're a run-first team that wants to stay run-first and use to answer that spread. I will say no, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did. I took a shot actually yesterday in a large field, very large field GPP. I took a little shot on Deshaun just in case if they were just going to let him go and unleash him and see what he had. But yeah, probably not, but I don't know that answer for sure.
Tyler, other than Deshaun Watson's return, there's really no reason to watch this football game. The Houston Texans are head and shoulders the worst football team in the NFL. What did you take away from Deshaun's return?
Yeah, I mean, I think Title hit on everything. There wasn't much from the offense. They ran the ball a little bit. You had a punt return for a touchdown. They tried to quarterback sneak it out of the end zone so they didn't get a safety. He pops the ball out. They grab it. They run it in. And then they pick six the guy. So you scored 21 points without having to put the offense on the field. So it's like, and you didn't see much from anybody else in this game. He did have one bad interception in the end zone. I will say that. They worked the ball all the way down the field, and he threw it right at the Houston guy in the end zone. But that could also just be him knocking off the rust. Can't take much out of this game because it's Houston. It's the worst team in the league. I want to see him as the weeks go on, see how he progresses. And those last 2 weeks.
How bad is this team, and how bad do you feel for Bryce Young having to go?
He ain't going there, spread. We're praying to the football gods, and CJ Stroud's ending up there. But looking at their
no one's going to take CJ Stroud over Bryce Young.
Yeah, but looking at their schedule title, they finished with Washington and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, definitely not.
That Pittsburgh game might be the one.
No, Pittsburgh is it on the road? I mean, regardless,
it's in Pittsburgh, but the way Watts looked recently, I mean,
they won the game.
They won the game yesterday,
though, right?
Yeah, but he does not look fully healthy. No. If they get knocked out of the playoff picture, he might just be done by then.
Well, he should be. He shouldn't even have came back. But regardless, I expect it to be cold. I was hoping I'd get another dome game. You get Detroit. You get one of these nut spots. Like I don't want a cold, frigid time. I mean, run the football, play defense. Like I don't know how much you're going to drop Deshaun back 40 plus times. You
won't even get warm weather the rest of the year at Cincinnati versus Baltimore versus New Orleans at Washington at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I probably won't touch that stack again.
All right. Speaking of bad football, the second winningest quarterback to get injured yesterday, Lamar Jackson, fell in the loss there to they beat the Denver Broncos 10-9. That game was so bad.
I got a hot take here.
Just jump in. I don't even want to talk about this.
Don't even let him come back. Just let him leave. Huntley's better than him. The offense started to move once the backup came in. Lamar couldn't move that ball worth a shit versus Denver.
Lamar left so early. He was what? He dropped back 4 times.
He was there for a decent bit when I was watching the game. Maybe he only dropped back 4 times, but he was in for, I believe, the first half before he finally went out.
There's no chance.
He was in that game, I believe, longer than just 3 dropbacks. He wasn't just in for a first drive and then done.
I can't. I thought it was like the first quarter that he got hurt.
No, they were just 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. He could not move the ball. Huntley finally came in, moved the ball, let Lamar go wherever he wants, and just run Huntley out there, spend the money in other places.
I agree with you on the money. It's really hard to win.
It was the first quarter. It was later in the first quarter, but it was the first quarter.
The other thing, too, is like one key play at the end of that game that Huntley was able to convert that got them the touchdown. Drake's running that little out route out of the backfield. The linebacker picks up on it. Huntley looks like he's going to throw it, and he pulls it back, and the linebacker fully commits to it as Drake gets farther into the route. Now Drake is beating the linebacker because he's coming up, and then he, off the pump fake, was able to dump it for about 12 yards. Lamar probably throws that ball and doesn't pump fake and throws it right over everyone's head out of bounds. Give me Huntley here in Baltimore. Save the money, trust Huntley, and just spend the money on the defense and key weapons.
All right, let's just play with your scenario because that's what we do here on Talking Touchdowns. We have some fun. Where does Lamar Jackson end up in this little scenario where Baltimore doesn't re-sign him?
Send him to New York.
Which one?
The Jets. He can have a bunch of fast guys that can run underneath all these balls. He's going to throw 10 yards too far.
Send him to Green Bay.
I mean,
Oh, no love for love.
Christian Watson can run down those balls. So yeah, I don't hate that either.
He ain't coming.
All right. Well, now that we're done talking about things that will not happen, Title, did you have any thoughts there on the Ravens and the Broncos? I mean, my thoughts are this Broncos team is going to be bad for so long. What do you do here with Russell Wilson? I mean, it's just unbelievable how bad he looks. And I know the Ravens have a good defense, right? But this isn't the 2001 Ravens, right? Tony Siragusa and Ray Lewis aren't lining up for this team. Unbelievably bad performance once again from Russell Wilson. And I understand he has no weapons, right? I know that when Tyler liked Denver, a lot of the reason was players that are no longer. I mean, who are the guys that they're missing, right? Tyler, how many did they lose?
Tim Patrick's out for the season. I believe
Cortland Sutton was the guy that you liked.
Jerry Jeudy sucks.
Hamler. He got hurt too, but I mean they had Jeudy and
Alberto has just become a ghost, and now we have these different tight ends we're ringing in and out.
Latavius Murray is so slow too.
Yeah, Javonte Williams is gone. Like we're just beat down.
Yeah. So, all right. Anyways, anything more from that team game title? I mean, obviously, really not much to talk about.
Yeah, Broncos are in trouble. I think that might have been the hottest take Tyler said on this show about the Lamar situation. So I'm good.
You think the Ravens should resign him? You're not worried about?
I just like if he's like I think Lamar is better than Huntley at the end of the day. If he's healthy, like
right, but it's like $40 million versus $2 million.
My answer is I don't think
$38 million better.
I don't think Huntley's the answer.
But what has Lamar showed you since the MVP season that makes you think he's
I think
far ahead of Huntley?
I think his throwing has definitely shown improvements this year, and he's made some tough throws. He's more willing to do it, and I also think he knows his contract situation in the back of his head, where he wants that bag, he wants to get paid, he wants to secure it. And maybe he's changing his rushing style a little bit, not as many design runs. Just think all of that. I think he needs the bag, and then he's gonna show people. But I was impressed with some of his throws to start the year. I think he's still developing as a quarterback.
All right. The question is, do you want to give $40 million?
I was going to say, when you're going financial and stuff, I mean, that's not my expertise when it comes into all that stuff.
Because let's talk about your team, who's next up here on the docket. The Green Bay Packers are 28-19. But how much is that Aaron Rodgers salary hampering the team and their ability to really be a true contender? Because as yesterday showed, I mean, they're so close, they can get things done. This season has to be considered a disappointment, 5-10. And I know the Bears are disappointed there. Justin Fields, 254 yards in the air, scored another touchdown on another electric run there. But the Packers got it done in the end. Title, what are your thoughts on your favorite team?
I mean, that was a Super Bowl for Rodgers and the Packers. He owns the Bears. Rodgers knew all this stuff. The season's been such a disappointment. Rodgers gets hurt or whatever. Love comes in last game. Once you saw Chicago on the map for the next game, that he came back. He beats the Bears. That's what Rodgers does. But, man, I mean, this whole season's been it's not Rashawn Gary they lost for the year a couple weeks ago. They've been decimated with injuries. They can't stop the run. Rodgers hasn't looked even close to what old Rodgers was. They've battled injuries on the wide receiving end all year. It's just been from start to finish. They just have never gotten a groove. So they beat the Bears. Don't move them up your rankings. Don't move them down. I mean, I think we know what this Packers team is. As far as the Rodgers situation, what do they do in the future? I don't know. I mean, I guess you have to give Love a year. You have to give him a chance. I mean, you took him so high. Everyone's saying it's the worst pick. There's so many other options. Pretty much you're pot committed, it feels like, not to at least give him a chance, especially what he did when he came in for Rodgers and looked pretty decent in the fourth quarter last game. So it's got to be the future. I'm not a big Jordan Love guy. I still think that's one of the worst picks of all time for any. Rodgers.
Because situationally it is. Situationally, with so many wide receivers on the board.
And it didn't help that a couple of those wide receivers that went right after him are top guys in the league right now.
I mean, I don't even care about that. Yeah, but there's I forget who a couple of the other ones were. But, I mean, it's just you came off the last 2 of the 3 years you were in the NFC Championship game. That last year you were in the NFC Championship. Rodgers still looking like he's in his prime. You still have Adams. Everything's coming together, and you spend that capital your first round, and you get worse. Then you took DeGuara in the third round, which was a fullback. A.J. Dillon, who looks fine in the second round. But, they didn't go receiver at all. They had Aaron Jones. It was just the worst draft there is. So now, they're set back. I love Rodgers, so that I'll never get mad at a Rodgers contract. Everything he did for the Packers, I've loved. But yeah, I mean, the time's to move on. I mean, it's rebuilding season.
All right, rebuild season there for two teams in the NFC North. As the Bears, though, at least look like they have the man to rebuild around. I can't say anything bad about Justin Fields. Tyler might be the first Ohio State quarterback to be good. Are you willing to push back on that, or do you still want to slander my guy Justin Fields?
I mean, they're picking second in the draft right now, spread. What's he done?
It's not his fault.
He hasn't thrown the ball well.
He ran the ball 254 yards yesterday.
He ran the ball well.
Spread. He likes Huntley more than Fields too.
Yeah, who's better, Huntley or Fields?
I mean, we're not going to go that far.
we couldn't bait him on that one.
No, we're not going that far now. And the other thing, back to the Baltimore argument, is Huntley is the same quarterback as Lamar. They play exactly the same in the system. He fits perfectly.
Fields is right. I mean, you can throw Fields in that same boat too, which is why I said it.
Can you imagine the Niners
Fields will also
do
the same thing Lamar does and throw the ball 15 yards past the receiver.
Well, I mean, people are going to overthrow people, Tyler.
I mean, Fields does it every week, spread in key situations.
Do you remember a guy named Rex Grossman?
I will say, Fields is only 23 years old, playing with bums. Like Mooney's hurt. Fields definitely has a lot of.
He has potential. He has potential, but I'm not high on Ohio State quarterbacks, and he's running the ball well.
You're trying to get the Texans to draft C.J. Stroud.
That's because we want Bryce. I don't want Bryce Young in Houston's situation.
Well,
if you like the player, would you want him drafted to the worst team?
No.
Especially with Seattle and Detroit sitting right behind them. Imagine Bryce Young with Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. Imagine them in Detroit with Swift, Jamal
Williams. Do you think
Williams,
that they'll draft
Ross,
the QB with Geno there?
I think they will.
Geno's top 5 statistically.
If Bryce Young's there, I say yes. If he's not, I say no.
Detroit, they shouldn't. Detroit, man. Detroit's going to be a good football team. I'm betting them. I mean, they're turning this stuff around. I love everything Detroit's doing. I like Goff.
Let's talk about them right now.
I like Goff also, but you reunite Bryce with his college teammate. You give him all the weapons. Even if Goff plays the next 2 years after you draft him, there's your guy for.
You want I guess the Jameson Williams. I get it. I like what. Go ahead, spread. Lead us.
Well, Detroit's not going to be there. They're 5-7 right now. They're 40.
They have the Rams pick.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. All right. We'll see how that turns out. We'll keep talking about this on here on Talking Touchdowns, brought to you by RunPureSports.com. Give us that thumbs up. But Tyler, you talked about how you like the Lions. They won 40-14 yesterday. And Jared Goff, the man that Tyler is trying to just throw out the door, threw for 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, 14 attempts, 62 yards, a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the best receivers in the league, received those 2 touchdown passes from Jared Goff, as well as accumulating 11 receptions, 114 yards. The Detroit Lions are finally starting to look like that team that everyone got excited about on Hard Knocks. Might be a little late, but at least they're building some momentum for next year. Title, the Jaguars just consistently disappoint me. I mean, boy, I'm trying to think of a bad joke. My brain's not working here, but they're a disappointment. Go ahead and talk to me about the Lions and the Jags.
Well, I'll just say for the Jags quick, at least Trevor Lawrence, I mean, that injury looked really scary. And him being able to come back, walk in, that's a huge, great sign for the Jags because they're not playing for much this year, except a better pick. Hopefully, if you're a Jags fan, you want to lose, but it's good that Lawrence was not hurt. As far as the Lions, I guess the big thing, everyone knew about their offense. I mean, their offense is coming into the year. They play in the dome. They have, I think, Goff solid. DeAndre Swift is a complete stud. The thing with him, he's just never healthy. When I am looking ahead, when I am talking about the Lions, I'm saying that he is healthy. That's a big if. But when he's healthy, this offense, Jameson Williams, haven't really seen him. I didn't hear Jameson Williams' name once during the game. I
don't think he played.
He didn't. It's okay.
I think if he played, he was running sprints because DJ Chark was pretty much the number 2 there. And with them being fully healthy, they might have just went, you know what? We're up a bunch of points already. You're waiting. You're not getting on the field and getting hurt in a game where we already won.
It's weird though, because wouldn't that be a fine? I mean, you're just trying to get him back in there.
No,
I mean, it's not like you're getting ready for a playoff push.
But not when it's your prized first round pick from last year off an ACL injury.
Like, I just expected like 5 to 15 snaps because they said they were going to work him, and they might have. Like I said, I just never heard the name. He had no catches. He had none of that. I don't know if he ran a couple routes or whatever. But anyway, let's see if he did run. Snap counter.
They're saying he got one target, and another guy in the chat saying he ran as a gunner on special teams for one play.
Yeah. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, just looking ahead, I mean, man, Amon-Ra's a complete stud. They got Chark there. Jameson Williams should be a complete stud. That's why you draft him there. Everything college showed. When DeAndre Swift's healthy, I don't know, hot take, not a hot take. I mean, he's top 7 running back in the league, I think. The dude is just so explosive, so strong. Got Jamal there. Who knows if he'll be there, but Goff can lead this team. And the big thing with them, their defense is finally putting it together. I mean, the defense looks good. They look good solid at least, against Buffalo. They're not letting up 50 points to Seattle or whatever they're doing earlier in the year. Defense comes together. Dan Campbell has always fought, and he's got the team together. Offense has been there. I mean, and we look at the NFC North, the Packers could be rebuild season. They're not a threat. Look at the Bears. Tyler doesn't love them. Picking second right now. You need more weapons. The Vikings, I mean, the Vikings are there, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not looking at the Vikings.
Cousins' regression away from being in the bottom.
Yeah. Like, I'm not looking at the Vikings in the future and be like, man, this team is going to take over this division. It's like this Lions team, man. I like what they got.
Hold on. The Vikings have a way better future than the Lions.
I mean, you don't look at the Vikings the same way I look at
their backup quarterbacks, Brad.
Doesn't matter.
Who's taking over for this old man when he's out in 2 years? They have such a bright future.
What are we talking about? 10 years from now?
I'm looking. Yeah,
Kirk Cousins ain't playing 10 years.
I'm talking the next 5-10 years. I'm looking at the next 5-10 years, and I just don't look at the line, or I don't look at the Vikings like I did. I mean, I guess I'm a Packers fan, so people are gonna say it, but like when I looked like the Packers when they had the Rodgers and they just kept winning, and every NFC North, like people just kept penciling in the Packers for the NFC North. Like I don't think that's gonna be the Vikings the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe I'm wrong.
All right, and that's fair, but that rarely happens in the NFL, right? That rarely happens in the NFL. But I'm just saying, you're building around the best wide receiver in the National Football League, arguably. Now, you can argue Jamar Chase as well, right? But to me, I think that if I were building a team, right, if I had one guy to come to the Raiders, I'd choose Jefferson over Chase just because he has a better quarterback. Chase has a better quarterback, right?
I'm definitely there. I mean, we're talking about one team that's 10-2, and we're talking about another team that like hasn't sniffed the playoffs in like 50 years.
I just think the Vikings, they make a couple proper draft picks, and I said that earlier. You can get studs in the 20s here in the NFL. They shore up that defense. This team could be really, really good, even with the pedestrian Kirk Cousins at quarterback. All right, let's move on. Anything more on this one? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Title on the Lions. Did you want to talk about?
No, you didn't. You're good. No,
well, we went straight into the Vikings, who won 27-22.
I don't know if Tyler had anything to say, but
did you, Tyler? I'm sorry.
We touched on everything. I think. I mean, we got the Lions play home. I was high on them on Friday. Amon Ra looked good. The offense, they did their job. The Jags came out flat after the big win, like we thought. I would hope they get Jameson Williams worked in more a little bit next week. And all that's going to do is I think, as they start to key in on Amon-Ra St. Brown more, that dude's just going to take the top off the defense on the other side a few times. So keep an eye on him on his anytime touchdowns, because he might be next week. It might be the week after. But that dude's going to score a 60-yard touchdown on one play.
All right, Tyler, high on Jameson Williams. But we just talked about the Vikings, but they improved to 10-2 with the win over the Jets. What'd you think of Mike White there, Title? Because I know he put up great stats, and it's great if you played him in fantasy. But it really felt like, I mean, that's where I would really argue some of these statistics are not really showing you what you're seeing. He was struggling at the beginning of the game, which is why they were in the big hole. And then he couldn't convert in the red zone when he needed to. What are your thoughts on the Jets and Mike White? And then, of course, the Vikings get the win, 10-2, even though no one seems to think they're any good.
I mean, I think Mike White's definitely better than Zach Wilson. I think everything.
Okay, but why? I mean, what is that saying? That's like saying he's better than me.
I mean, he's a starting quarterback. I'm fine with Mike White. I mean, you look at the situation. There's no Breece Hall. Michael Carter got hurt. Like when your lead running back is Zonovan Knight and your second running back is James Robinson, who was the healthy scratch a week ago. Then you look at the wide receiver core. I mean, it's fine. Garrett Wilson, definitely a huge talent there. But outside of him, like
Elijah Moore's good.
The dude has been irrelevant ever since he stepped in the NFL. Like you just can't figure anything out. He was 2 for 7. I mean, yeah, he's the talent could be there and stuff, but results have just never really showed with him thus far. Conklin, like Ty Johnson getting catches, and you're going against a 10-2 Vikings team when you're on the road and you're in your second game starting this year. Like everything was it was lined up against him. It was a really tough go to start. But did he play a great game? No, I don't think he played a great game. But I think he gives his team the best chance to win. He can at least get the ball to his receivers on time. Can at least try. Receivers get. I mean, I think Mike White is definitely better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, okay, no argument there, right?
That's all they got.
I think that's just a given. Nobody's going to argue with you there.
I mean, you'll definitely find some people arguing. I think that.
Well, kudos to the Jets for making that move because I know that's tough to give up on your number 2 overall pick that soon.
I mean, really tough, especially looking at their record. There was what when they made that move.
He was winning, but he had lost the locker room already. And if you lose the locker room while you're winning. I mean, that's
the moment he came out after that New England game, and they asked him if the offense let the defense down, and he flat out said no. The moment he walked back in that locker room, it was over.
Well, I'm sure it had built up to it because I'm sure that
but that was what broke it because then they were probably like, you know what, this kid is fully just
while he throws for 77 yards.
They're like, we're done with this guy.
Yeah. No, it was good. I like Mike White. I think is your question, is he the answer in the future? Is he your starting?
No, I'm talking about so for the rest of the year though.
I'm riding them.
Where do you expect the Jets to go? There's a bunch of teams that are pushing for that wild card spot. Do you think they'll be able to hang on to the wild card spot with Mike White at quarterback? Because I'm wondering, so where would we put him in quarterback rankings? He's got to be 25 out of 32, right? I mean, they can't
I'd have to look
high.
No, you can't. But I think you still try and win. You have a good defense. You hope to get a little healthier. You're still in tight football games, and I think he gives you the best chance to win. So I think you. Do
you think they have a wild card when we're doing this show and it's week 18 or week 19 or whatever?
Okay,
we're going into the playoffs.
How many games up are they? And then who's right behind them?
The Chargers and the Patriots are behind them. They're 7-5. The Chargers and Patriots are both 6-6, I believe.
And then your Raiders, Browns, and the Steelers are 5-7.
All 5-7. Yeah.
What's their schedule looking like?
That's where it's good. That's where it's going to be.
They play the Bills next week.
Loss. Okay, next.
Let me pull it up because I have to go week by week here.
Maybe I can click it too and see. I got it. They got Bills loss. They got Lions at home, should be a win. Jaguars at home, should be a win. Seahawks on the road, tough game. Dolphins on the road, tough game. Man, so you got
so what are we looking at? About a 9-8?
1 could go 3-2. I mean, is 3-2 good enough? Because I think they can.
3-2 is good. I think they go 2-3 on that schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take 3-2. I'll say they're in at 3-2.
All right. What do you think, Tyler? The Jets going to be a playoff team?
Give me 1 second to answer that question. I just want to check one other team's schedule.
Who are you checking?
I didn't check the other.
I think your favorite coach is going to be the guy that screws us all up, Spread.
Tomlin?
They play Baltimore this week. They can easily win that game. They play Carolina. They play Vegas. They play Baltimore, and they play Cleveland. They could win out. They could easily win out and be 9-7 and just sitting there waiting for that last spot. And they could do exactly what they did last year. Screw up their draft stock, get the last seed in the playoffs.
And then get smoked in the game.
Yeah.
Just get
Mike
smoked.
Tomlin got his winning season, and then Buffalo doesn't punt against us in that game, and they just hang 40.
Well, because since the Jimmy G bit's been over, I need my Tomlin bit to go.
The other thing, too, is your team, too, Spread. The more their offense comes together, they're going to be a tough out also if they keep winning games. They could easily take that last spot.
They shot themselves in the foot to start the year, man.
They probably did,
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your team, Tyler. The Steelers beat the Falcons yesterday. The only thing I would say is they should have probably won by more. That Falcons team is absolutely terrible. I mean, I'll give you this one, too. Mike White's better than Marcus Mariota title. I mean, this is just, how are they not playing that kid? That kid must be so bad in practice. Ritter.
You beat me to my joke. I was going to be like, well, I'll tell you who he's better than Desmond Ritter because he can't beat out Marcus Mariota.
Unbelievable how bad he must be. Or maybe, I don't even know what's going on there. Title, did you watch that game? I actually did. That was an RPV tag that we had. We had the Steelers. I thought it should have been easier, though. What are your thoughts?
I didn't watch too much of this game. No, I didn't. I had Pat Freiermuth as the only guy in DFS in this one, so there were other better games to watch. Go to the Pittsburgh fan. When I did watch, it looked like Najee was looking like the best Najee I've really seen. Yeah, I mean, and he's been, man. He said it's been a slow start to his career as well, but he was running hard. He looked a little more explosive. So, and then TJ Watt looked hurt pretty much every time I turned on the game as well. So those were the two takeaways.
Tyler, what do you think?
Just a quick touch on an NBA game we talked about earlier. Spread Ja Morant's now doubtful.
Did I bet that? God damn it! All right,
I'm too late to.
Excuse the language. Tyler, talk to me about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a bit of this game. I was over at my mom's house. Of course, they were watching it. You know how the injuries get when the Steelers are on. So got to watch it. It was pretty boring. Najee did look good. So
pretty boring.
Yeah, the thing that I took away from it was I know they target Deontay Johnson a lot. They gotta get this kid Pickens the ball. He's the best wide receiver. He was running open most of that game, and the dude had one target for 3 yards.
Yeah.
When Johnson fumbled the ball, you seen the frustration finally come out, and Pickens took his helmet off on the sideline, threw it on the ground, kicked it across the ground, looked at
he knows he's better.
Yeah, screams at somebody, "Give me the effing ball." Cam Hayward's got to come over and calm the rookie down. Just give the guy his 5 to 6 targets a game. He's the best wide receiver we got. Most likely the best offensive weapon we have. Get him the ball. We'll win these games at the end of the year, and they can get their happy playoff blowout loss. And I'll bet against them when they play Buffalo.
I got a question for you two, and this is just future. This is career. I have my answer, but my buddies in chat were asking it. Pickens and Christian Watson. Who's better? Who's gonna be better?
I say Pickens, but
that was my answer too.
But the thing is, when you look at Watson, it's the touchdowns right now that make him look so good. Like the dude,
he's got Rodgers throwing to him too.
Yeah, he's fast.
It's mainly his speedy when he gets that ball in space. But mine was Pickens too.
I think Watson's the boomer bust play. Like he's never going to be a guy. It's like here's your 8 targets, 85 yards, and you work the ball down the field for us. Never got in the end zone. I think he's touchdown or bust. To where Pickens could be that guy for you, and he's a hell of a run blocker.
Yeah, that definitely. Spread. You got any take on that?
I think Watson will have better stats, but Pickens will be a better player.
I also think
he's got Rodgers getting him the ball.
That's only going to be for how this could be the last year.
I think he's coming back. How many years? How many last years has Rodgers had? It's like the Rolling Stones.
Did you hear what he said after the game? He basically was like, you don't know how many more trips you have to certain places, and he's like waving to all the fans on the way out of Chicago. It's like that's not your normal Rodgers.
I'm telling you, I've been saying all year that I think this is his last year.
Does he leave like $40 million on the table if he retires?
He's gonna. I mean, they're gonna pay him to go do other things.
He wants us.
Who's gonna pay him? The media hates him. They think he's an anti-vaxxer because he kicks it with Joe Rogan.
Wasn't he about to host Jeopardy?
He can find.
He was until all that stuff came out.
I mean, he's a very intelligent human. He already has a ton of money. He doesn't need the dude will just go and smoke some weed and live his own life and do whatever with around no one. He doesn't love the game as much as guys like Tom Brady and as much as he really doesn't.
I think he's gonna be one of them guys who was quiet his whole career and then starts a podcast afterwards, and we're gonna love this dude once he starts talking.
He's such a good talker. I mean, anytime he's on the Pat McAfee or on that, he just whether you like whatever, agree with his opinions, don't all that. He is very, very intelligent. He's very well spoken. I will always listen.
Tyler, should I buy out of Memphis real quick? I know this is an NFL show.
I think so.
I got minus 102, and I had Memphis at -1. I could just buy out.
I would personally, because if Jaw's out also and Jimmy Butler's rolled in, I don't know how they win that game.
Yeah, Robert's saying they're minus 4.5. I don't know why bookmakers still got minus.
Better 1. Hit it quick.
All right, I'll do that real quick. Thank you, guys. All right, let's talk about the Eagles. They're now 11-1. That was a rough one for me. My other guy, my other favorite coach, Mike Vrabel, just simply couldn't get it done. The Eagles were just too much. Talk to me about that game. Tyler, I'll start with you.
I mean, the Eagles did what the Eagles had to do. A.J. Brown's a grown man. Tannehill stink.
Some of those catches, he was perfectly covered.
Mike White or Tannehill, give me Mike White.
Ooh, that's a hot one.
Sure.
Mike
it's an easy one for me.
Leave the running out. Leave the running out. Throw the ball.
I mean, that Lamar wouldn't even probably Mike White, but that is Lamar.
Yeah.
Even his throws that he makes, they're one-on-one. It's that because of the rushing ability. So, I mean, Lamar wouldn't be Lamar without that. Probably Mike White, but yeah, I'd have to say Mike White just being that. But, I mean, yeah, this Tennessee team, I feel like they were 7-3 or 7. I feel like I don't know that for sure, but I know we were talking about these Titans and Super Bowl a while ago. I don't think this Titans team's really any good. They don't have weapons. Hopefully Treylon Burks is okay. I saw concussion protocol.
Got smacked.
I give that man full credit for holding on to that ball.
That's insane.
He's finally set the ball down, but I'm not even sure he set it down.
No,
he was already stiff.
He should have got 14 points for that.
Yeah, I mean that's the exact hit the NFL tries to take away. The helmet's a helmet at full speed. So yeah, I mean that was really scary. Eagles did what they did, though. I mean, Titans had no answers for them. They could stop the run a little bit, but Devontae got loose. A.J. Brown got loose. The game was never in question.
Commanders. Oh, wait. Go ahead, Tyler. Talk about the Eagles.
I think the Titans, the more we look at them spread, they are what the Atlanta Hawks were when they were running that Joe Johnson group. We talked about that on the previous show. They'll post a nice regular season record, and come playoff time, they're getting bounced. They're just not a threat.
I don't understand how they thought, oh, we don't need A.J. Brown. It was just so stupid.
Treylon Burks, he's not A.J. Brown good, but he can fill that wide receiver spot.
It doesn't matter.
I think it's the fact that they lost. They got rid of both of the guys that they had playing receiver, even though Julio wasn't all that. But you never replaced them with anything other than Burks, and Burks just can't stay healthy right now. So can't move the ball through the air.
I'm with you, Spread. Like, I mean, why the Titans were okay, because they played defense, they could run the football, but they needed that one weapon out wide where you just can't you can't play one-on-one everywhere.
Everything for everyone else, too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, A.J. Brown was taking slants to the house, like grown.
Whatever they gave him, you can't tell me he's not worth more.
No,
he's
underpaid.
Top 5 receiver in the league?
Nah, all right. There's too many good ones. Jefferson, Adams, Kupp, Chase. Tyreek.
Yeah, let's say that's 5 right there.
So yeah, he's not top 5.
He's 6. There's just so many.
He might be 6 though. He's top 10.
He's definitely top 10.
Definitely top 10. Yeah,
but as the names start to roll off,
there's just so many.
9 or 10.
Yeah, there's.
Who do you like better, him or Waddle?
I was gonna say Waddle was I'll say AJ
like
Brown
AJ
just because he's a grown man, but Waddle was gonna be one of the next ones.
I think Waddle's gonna be a top receiver in the league.
AJ or Debo?
AJ. I think Debo's just too. He's just
Debo's
too much
not as healthy
right
now, so maybe it is Debo.
AJ or Metcalf?
Definitely.
Okay. I think that's the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, that's tough.
It shows you how many good ones there are. Even when Keenan Allen gets healthy, right? I mean, he should be in that conversation. We kind of forgot about him.
I mean, the guys that we'll never touch on, guys like Terry McLaurin, are just complete studs.
Terry's great. Yeah. I love that guy.
That's what I mean. Like the NFL is so talented at these skill positions.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So let's talk about Scary Terry. All right, the Commanders, Giants, they tied. Game went under.
So hold on, before we get to that, Swoop and Chat said Amra. Like, yeah, we didn't even talk about Amra. And that just shows
there's so many good guys. Yeah.
So many.
Yeah. All right. Talk to me about the Commanders and the Giants, though. Title. They said, hey, the World Cup's on. We can get a tie too.
I'll start with the Commanders side. Heineke. He has to be the guy in Washington. Of course, if they had a top pick or they could get a quarterback, like, is Heineke the guy the next 10 years?
Is Heineke better than Mike White?
I was going to say, that's his will to win and how he can rally a team around him and his fight and his competitiveness. Who's a more talented quarterback? Just throwing the ball that I would say Mike White. But Heineke's just the will to win. Yeah, how he gets the team. Maybe it's because he goes with Carson Wentz, who was absolutely dusty. The team wasn't rallying around him, and it just changed the whole atmosphere. Who's a better pocket passing quarterback? Who's a better just quarterback? I'll say Mike White spread for you. But I just like the will to win from Heineke. Brian Robinson is a grown man. Tackling him is a lot harder in the fourth quarter than it is in the first quarter. Wear down defenses. Get Terry the football. Curtis Samuel the football. Play defense. Commanders are a solid football team. As far as the Giants, I don't know. I mean, Tyler said all year they're cheeks. I've said all year they're not as good as their record is. I don't think they're a real playoff threat. Nothing's just really changed with them. They play competitive football. They need Saquon to get loose. They need to play good defense. If they're trailing by 2 touchdowns, this team's not built to win like that. I mean, nothing's really changed with me for the Giants. I've never been like, man, they're a true contender, which is what the record's been saying. But from looking at what the Giants have done the past 5 years, like, this is a huge season for them. It's a huge win. So I don't really know. Nothing's changed for me is the Giants. I think the Commanders are more of a threat than the Giants. So maybe that's a hot take too.
I don't know. I mean, they have more than one weapon. I mean, who the Giants have besides Saquon?
That's what I mean. Like Darius Slayton.
Daniel Jones' legs.
Yeah.
When Darius Slayton is your number one, you got problems.
Speaking of that, man, I mean, is there a better receiver just tracking that deep ball when Daniel Jones puts it up? I swear, every time Daniel Jones just heaves one up, that dude's the guy coming down with it.
So I mean, I'm not trying to smack talk him, but when you're wide receiver 1 for a good football team and your name's Darius Slay, man, he's balled out this year.
All right. Well, there we
go.
go.
You got to go to Tyler on that though.
I mean, this dude's skipping me on every game. Tyler, this is crazy.
Guys, I'm not 100% today. I know I sound better, but my brain still has got that stupid COVID fog.
Yeah, but as for this game, I didn't watch much of it. I was honestly surprised when I finally seen the tie. I seen the Giants were coming back, had to leave. Check the scores later on in the night, find out they tied. So kind of helps the Giants out when they're trying to hold on to this wild card spot. They still are the 6th seed ahead of Seattle. Washington's on the outside looking in at 7-5-1. Then the Lions at 5-7 and the Packers at 5-8. I don't think the Giants are all that good. Sorry, Joey. But I think they're going to be able to hold on to that playoff spot. They're going to sneak in. They have the coaching to win a few games then the year.
Nah, they ain't getting in.
I think they get in. Who steals their spot?
Eagles, Commanders, Vikings, Colts, Eagles. Eagles, L. Commanders, L. Vikings, L. Colts should be a win. Eagles again, depends if they sit. I'm definitely
that's the game they win, and that's what clinches them the spot. Watch.
What if the Commanders beat them and then go? I mean,
do you trust Seattle to hold that other spot though? I don't.
I'd have to look at their
both
schedules.
of those.
There's just so much that goes into this. I guess
for grabs.
All I'm saying with the Giants is, man, they have Eagles tough. Commanders when Giants are on the road. Giants are on the road in Minnesota on Christmas Eve. They get the Colts at home and the Eagles. I mean, on the road. That's a tough schedule though to end the year.
Who does Seattle have?
Here, I'll pull up Seattle's now. But the other thing too is like if Green Bay and the Lions lose 1 to 2 more games, they are now not a threat to take that last spot.
Green Bay is not a threat.
So the Lions are one threat to get that spot in Washington.
So also the idea that they're going to play the Eagles backups in week 18.
I was going to say that's the one thing you're looking at. Yeah. So, but you look at the Seahawks schedule. They have 2 free wins. The Panthers this coming week, the Rams to end the year. But then they go 49ers. Not the same 49ers team as it was. Chiefs.
They're going to be favored against the 49ers.
Yeah, and then the Jets when the Seahawks are at home. So, I'd lean the Seahawks to take their spot.
All right. Well, that'll be interesting. Go ahead.
The Seahawks have that 7 seed. It was just, do you think that they hold on to their spot?
Hold on.
I think
it's either them or the Commanders though, because the next highest is 5-7 Detroit, 5-8 Green Bay.
And unless Detroit wins out, then they ain't getting that spot.
Yeah, and they got to take on Minnesota this week, and I know the Lions are favored, but
the Giants are going to win one of these games that we pencil them out of too. They've done it all year. This coach is.
They might win in Washington.
I mean,
that game was really close.
And would it really surprise us if Philly just lays a dud in that first matchup? They've laid one dud all year. They're bound to lay another one.
That's a good point too. All right, well, we'll keep notice on that. Hold on, I switched to let me get back to the scores. What's the next game we're going to talk about?
Probably the San Fran game, right?
I don't want to do this. All right, I'm wearing black title. My favorite bit on this whole show has now been jettisoned to a broken foot. And I feel like the 49ers title hopes have as well. Now I know that you're going to say, oh, it's just a system, just this and that. Go ahead and look at Kyle Shanahan's record without Jimmy G. It's not very good. Baker Mayfield was released today. I don't think he fits on the 49ers. You guys can go ahead and let me know. I don't think that's a very good fit at all. Maybe you have to just take the shot because really you're ready for a Super Bowl, but it's just really disappointing to me. That was just something that I enjoyed. They were putting the smack down on the Dolphins. It was going to be just, one of the greatest talking touchdowns episodes. But now he's gone. And I follow a lot of 49ers reporters, and they just said the locker room just felt deflated. That regardless, I know Brock Purdy came in and played well, but we see these backups play well for 1 week, and then, the league figures out who they're going against. I think it's too bad. I think in a weak NFC, the 49ers had a chance to make the Super Bowl, and now they're not. And now I also think this gives ammunition for guys who want to get rid of Jimmy G that says, I don't care about your win percentage spread. He can't stay healthy. And I can't necessarily argue that right now because this is 3 times in the last 6 years that he hasn't been able to make it through a full season. And it's not like they're using him in a Lamar Jackson role, right? Where He's taking all his unnecessary hits, and you can redo to the design. So the 49ers get the win. We get the man going, Bucks. But at what cost, Title? At what cost?
I mean, I agree. I'm not a big Jimmy G guy one bit. You know that. But I said they've definitely had Super Bowl aspiration. I mean, you don't need, as Brock Purdy showed, and as I have been preaching, you can't throw anyone in this system, but when you rely on your defense, Brock Purdy came in the game. He played just fine. Now, 2 interceptions, you can't have that. Or 1 interception, 2 touchdowns.
Shanahan's 8-28 without Jimmy G as a starter in San Francisco.
But he also hasn't had McCaffrey, Debo, Kittles. These had defense almost all the time. But another elite defense right here.
Good point.
I mean, and the NFC being as weak as it is, like he's had Tom Brady for a little while, but the Rodgers, this is the weakest NFC we've seen in a long time. Hurts is now the big threat. But man, I agree with you, Spread. I'm not a big Jimmy G guy, but like, there's not too many rookies, especially Brock Purdy, that's going to come in and lead this team to a Super Bowl. I don't think it's really tough. The locker room, like you said, that's a huge thing. I mean, how would you not be walking in that locker room? You lost Lance, you lost Jimmy G. Now you got the rookie. Is Baker Mayfield the answer? We saw how bad he's been this year, but if there's anyone to make Baker right, it's definitely getting thrown right into this system. I think the Super Bowl chances are done as well, Spread, unless one of these guys just proves me wrong at the quarterback position. There's still, the thing is, I think you bet this team, if you get dog money on some of them, you get some decent plus money because they're going to fight every game with McCaffrey, with the defense, get the ball to Debo in space. Like, they're just so good everywhere that you just hope the quarterback limits the mistakes like Jimmy G did. But yeah, I still think the Super Bowl chances are probably gone. I think you just roll Brock Purdy. He played pretty decent. He knows the system. He knows the plays. And who's out there? Like, I'm not going signing Baker and putting him over.
You'd rather have Purdy than Mayfield then?
Yeah, I'm rolling with Purdy.
I mean, yeah, who else is out there? Cam Newton?
That's what I mean. Who? I don't know.
There's one name a lot of people aren't talking about. You got to coax him out of retirement, but I think if you got him,
who?
They
Drew
become
Brees?
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
There's no chance.
He's looking pretty fat on that show.
I don't know what show you're talking about, but like,
he's on Amazon Prime.
That,
he's on Amazon Prime for
he's on the
night.
Thursdays.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a guy I'd call up. I know everything all over Twitter. Just even like our guy Beanair said in the chat, everyone wants Matt Ryan to walk into the office, demand his release.
Matt Ryan, that team's worse than Matt Ryan than Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I think that.
I would agree.
Matt Ryan. No one wants. Who wants Matt Ryan?
There's a few of these quarterbacks that are backups on different teams. I know it would just be one of those things like there's like collusion here going on, like this isn't allowed. But like a Mitch Trubisky, he's not the best. He's better than Brock Purdy. He knows he's not going to play in Pittsburgh. Why not walk in the office and be like, I don't want to be here anymore. Release me. And then you call. Then
you can't say that to Tomlin.
We're not talking to Tomlin. He ain't the GM.
Tomlin finds out you're in trouble. You're gonna meet with you and Brian Flores. That's the worst meeting of your life.
Big Dick Nick Foles, baby.
Yeah, you can go with Nick Foles. There's a couple routes you can go with this.
What's Gardner Minshew up to?
Yeah, Gardner Minshew. One of them guys in New England. I'd be calling their phones and telling them to demand their release.
Oh, I'd love to have some Zappy hour.
Bailey Zappi in this offense, he'll air it out with these weapons.
Yeah, I just don't see what incentive these other teams would have.
I wouldn't sign Baker. I see the pathway where it does happen. The way it works, though, I think is it's kind of he's back at Oklahoma. He's surrounded by weapons. You legit limit him to where it's like you are throwing the ball here on this play.
What if someone in chat, like they said, one of McCaffrey was like, no chance I'm playing with Baker Mayfield.
That's the other thing, too, is like you got the CMC angle where he's like, I don't want him here. Nick Bosa hates him. You're going to piss off the best dude on your defense?
Yeah, that ain't happening.
It's like one of those things where like they might just roll with Purdy. I think there's some routes they can take and maybe bring in a vet. It'll be interesting to see how they play this out. I'm not counting them. I'm also not counting them out either to make the Super Bowl. I'm not going to say they're going to win it. I think they can still make it.
I don't think there's any way they beat Philly.
You talked about Russ Grossman at the top of the show, Spread. He made a Super Bowl with a badass defense. This defense
the rules
can't
were
drag,
different then, though.
But this defense with all these running weapons on the offense can't drag Brock Purdy to a championship. They could easily go play the Bills in the Super Bowl and get thrashed.
I don't see it. So
who beats them? Like in the NFC, it's like if they get the pass rush to Kirk Cousins, the Vikings are now not a threat. The one team that I think beats them in the NFC is Dallas. I think they could beat Philly with what they have right now.
All right, yeah, that's fair. I just think that their season ended yesterday.
But spread. We got to expect that when you're as high on Jimmy G as you are, like you're not saying some rookie is going to be able to do.
Spread was on his hands and knees yesterday when that dude went down. This is devastating.
It was. It ruined my favorite bit on this whole show. Because nobody agreed with me. The chat would go after me, and then he just kept putting up W's. It was just like the best thing.
Yeah, title out. Like, who is your favorite in the NFC now?
Oh, the Eagles, definitely.
But besides the Eagles, throw them out. Who's your second favorite now?
Cowboys, but that big fat Mike McCarthy is sitting there.
I knew it.
I've learned my lesson way too long. He'll find ways to lose football games. There's no doubt about that. But the Cowboys would be second.
Well, who's your second favorite now, Tyler?
Mine's are flipped. I like Dallas 1, Philly 2.
You think Dallas? Okay, and they're going to play real soon, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right.
I think Philly's injuries to their secondary are going to matter in that game.
The defense definitely has been playing a lot worse for Philly than they started the year for sure.
Lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson for extended periods of time. That's just going to open up these weapons for Dallas.
Hey, all right. Big Mike. He'll find ways to lose that game.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, RIP in my mind of the 49ers Super Bowl chances and my favorite bit here.
Hollis Prince said the best one. That would be the best. I look at them the same as I look.
Them letting him go though.
No, I don't either. But I look at Jacoby Brissett the same way I look like at Jimmy G. Like that would be the nut fit. He won't make a mistake.
The other one too.
Except for Jimmy G wins.
Yes, Jacoby Brissett wins with that football team.
You want a winner?
If you go Jimmy G to Cleveland,
I would take Teddy Two Gloves.
Spread. If Jimmy G was playing on that Cleveland team the whole year like Brissett did, Jimmy G's not known as a winner. He ain't winning those games.
They would have won way more games because Jimmy G would have been going out with the guys. The guys would have been getting laid like 24/7. They're like they would have been
in Ohio.
Great moves
In Ohio.
There's hot girls in Ohio.
They're hung over the next.
Ohio State cheerleaders.
There's like 6 of them spread.
They're hung over the next day. They got chlamydia. They got all this stuff. Whereas at least Brissett's got them waking up and feeling fresh.
All right. On that note, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks, who actually played a good game against the Los Angeles Rams. If you guys watched that one, it was a lot of fun to watch. The Rams ended up covering. Bobby Wagner and Jalen Ramsey were fired up, but Seattle was too much at the end. It just felt like when they made that final drive, the Rams weren't going to have the offense to get it done. But the defense came to play, and it was a fun football game. I wonder if that's the Rams' last gasp, though, right? Because of the rivalry with Bobby Wagner and his old team, and it's just in a long rivalry. I wonder if the Rams are going to put forth that type of effort against my Raiders on Thursday night, or if that was their last gasp. The Seahawks, say what you want. They probably should have blown this team out, but they got the win. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. What are your thoughts on the Seahawks there, Title?
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones fighting. Kenneth Walker, I guess, is the big thing you had to talk about. He has a chance to play next week. It looks like some weird injury, but Underdog says he has a chance. They need him for sure. But, man, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, get your best players of football. That's what Gino's been doing. Good things happen. And Kenneth Walker went down. The boys, Lockett, Metcalf, the best players stepped up. Now, way too close when you're playing against a Rams team, backup quarterback, injuries all over the place. They're backups that pretty much.
I almost wonder if that team played harder, though, with the backups in there rather than the overpaid guys that are just like, we're not going to win the Super Bowl. I'm making $8 million.
100% what you're saying could definitely be true, but it's also hard to tell myself this team's better with their backup nose tackle and not Aaron Donald. There's stuff like that, but everything
that's for sure.
But yeah, I mean, the effort definitely means a lot. They're still professional football players. They're still really, really good. So I get that. Is this going to be their last push though? I mean, I just don't like your Raiders gets these Rams. Like who are the Rams winning? Who are the Rams beating the rest of the year? Like this team, this roster is just garbage, and they don't want to win, which helps too. Maybe Tyler has got a team that they're going to beat, but Seahawks won.
Tyler hates the Rams.
I mean, this team is.
I don't think they play them, but I'm praying to God they play the Texans so the Texans can beat them, and somehow that pick flips with the Texans so we can get Bryce Young away from.
I don't think they do. I don't think they.
I don't think they do either.
Those divisions fight each other. Yeah.
No, hey, here's their win. Denver.
That'll be such a
wow.
That'll be There's
Let me
their
guess.
win.
Let me guess. It's somehow on prime time.
If Russ can't beat the Rams,
now.
he should just give the money back.
It's at 4:30. 4:30.
Wow,
game.
they actually do have it at a.
It's a Christmas game. Oh God.
Oh my!
It's
it is prime
the
time. It's as prime
Christmas
time
game.
as it gets. Oh, and they didn't
The
flex.
NFL wants you to spend some time with the family. Title.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Find out what your cousins are up to.
But guess what? The problem is there's Showdown, and I'm still playing. I don't care who the teams are. I'm still playing Showdown, so I'll be having to cheer for someone in that game. That is gross, though. That is gross.
Tyler, what are your thoughts on? Yeah, I know no one gives money back. Yeah, that's wishful thinking there. Bill Miner's got a great point. Remember, hit the like. We're here talking touchdowns every Monday for you here. RunPureSports.com. Give us that like. Tyler, you want a victory lap again? Because you told us this was going to happen to the Rams, and you called it perfectly. You were just 1 year too early.
No, I mean they went top heavy and the top fell out. So there is nothing behind them to help. All these rookies are just patched together. They didn't build the,
and they're not even high end rookies. They're 5th round.
No,
rookies, right?
it's legit. Just give me whatever you got out on the streets. Our main guys will win us the Super Bowl. They pulled it off. I'm glad. The thing I was worried about the most when they won the Super Bowl was teams were going to try and take that route. I'm glad nobody else really took that route because you see what happened after 1 year. You got the ring now, but you're probably dead for the next 6 years.
I mean, that's got to be worth it, though.
I'll trade the ring for 6 years of being dead because we were dead for 6 years and I didn't get shit for it as a Raiders fan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but I think the main reason they did it is because the team moved to LA. You needed the win. They got the win.
Yeah.
Now they'll just be mediocre for the time being until somebody shows up to play quarterback.
And anything you can turn around the NFL faster than any other sport, though. And
yeah.
So
and then
they'll stop trading first rounders now.
To touch on the Seattle side.
Baseball, you can't win unless you're in New York or LA.
When's the last time? Everyone keeps saying New York.
Didn't Houston just win the World Series?
Yeah, you're right. I don't really follow baseball. I'm an A's fan. I got my A's shirt on. We're so bad.
There you go.
All right.
Keep going, Tyler. Tyler was about to say something.
Yeah, but as for the Seattle side, if Kenneth Walker misses time, I think this team takes a bit of a step back. Geno Smith could air it out, and these wide receivers could just take over. But Walker was a big part of that run offense, kind of eased the load for those guys. DJ Dallas and Travis Homer are not the guys that are going to be able to run the ball effectively like Walker. And with them saying this is an unusual strain to his ankle/foot, doctors really haven't seen this yet in the NFL. I wouldn't be surprised if he's out for 4 to 6 weeks here.
I hope not. Maybe we'll get some of those Bay Area guys, the Balco Lab, back up there. All right, let's talk about my team. The Raiders got it done. Little too late, but it's kind of nice for this team. And I mean, I know everyone talks about ruining the draft position. The best part about the NFL is you can get absolute studs no matter where you are in the first round. So I'm not as worried about it. I'm happy that the team is building some winning momentum and not just being a complete embarrassment. Devontae Adams, starting to look once again hey, don't forget about me as the best wide receiver in the league, making some unbelievable catches, even on the ones that didn't count. And without him, I don't think there's any way that the Raiders win this football game. The Chargers continue to do Chargers things, and that's have a bunch of talent and lose. So there you have it. What do you think, Title?
Man, myself and a lot of other Wisconsinites miss 17 in green and gold. That's for sure. The dude is special. And the Raiders, they're winning football games with 2 players talking on the offensive end, Jacobs and Devontae, and that's all. Yeah. That's all you need. Josh Jacobs.
But let's not forget it's because the line's actually playing better.
100%. It's never football's never a game where I'm saying 2 guys. Yeah. That's who's doing the football. You need all 11 in football. Yeah. I mean, basketball, you can have a guy hide in the corner. You can ice. So yes, the line is definitely playing. But Jacobs running hard, and when you get your best player of the football and Devontae, things open up. So you have a running game, you have a passing game. Devontae, Jacobs, line's playing better, defense is playing better. Eckler had nothing. He couldn't find space besides Keenan's catch, the long touchdown.
Which was amazing because Nick Robertson covered him really well.
Oh, I mean, Herbert dropped an absolute dime. Couldn't put it in the basket anymore. Keenan made the great play all around. Good defense, better row, all of that. Mike Williams was hurt for the Chargers. That's a little disappointing, but what a disappointing season. All the talent that these Chargers have.
Disappointing season, disappointing franchise.
Season.
This happens every single year with this team. This has happened since Drew Brees was the quarterback.
With Phillip Rivers, it was always the kicker that let's win the football game. 2 seconds left. Send the kicker out. Yeah,
and honestly, it couldn't happen to a better guy. That owner is so cheap. He turned his back on the fans of San Diego, who absolutely loved his team, to go to Los Angeles where they have absolutely no fans. So
yeah, they play a road
I'm
game
fine
every
with this
other
team just being terrible every year. I just feel bad for Herbert having to deal with that ineptitude. Tyler, what do you think?
He's going to say Sean Payton.
He'll be fine next year when Sean Payton shows up.
Is he even going to pay for it? The guy never pays for anything else. Definitely doesn't pay for a medical staff.
Listen, when certain coaches want that job and they're just going to fire the guy who doesn't know what he's doing in Brandon Staley, they could bring him in. He could call the offensive plays, get that bum out of there, whoever's calling the –
Can Brandon Staley even bench 185? How could he coach a football team?
185. I mean, I got to see if I can bench 185.
Yeah, I'll say I wasn't going to make
all right,
135. He probably can't bench 185. Is my guess.
We better bring the bench out. I think we should need to bring the bench out at
is that going to be the March Madness competition?
Yeah, the March Madness party.
The bench off.
I think we should have a bench off.
I won't win it, but I'll participate.
Well, it'll be to your weight, right? Obviously,
so it's going to be me and Title against each other and just everybody else.
Yeah.
We got a couple guys.
How many pounds you can get over your weight?
But yeah,
then maybe I can win that. Maybe I'm pretty light.
Yeah, but
all right,
this
let's keep slandering the Chargers though, because I love doing.
I'm not going to slander them much. I mean, I just think they need to fire the coach, fire the OC, get Sean Payton in there, somebody that knows what they're doing, open up the offense for Herbert, and they can this team will just open up. The other thing too is like the defense is just all the additions they made outside of Khalil Mack, they're all hurt. So it's like they're just beat up. They're not going to do anything this year. I don't know who's been trying to cover Devontae Adams for the past few weeks, but everyone's failed at it because the dude runs down the field by himself almost every play. Keep playing that guy in DFS and just keep betting his anytime touchdowns if we're going to keep hanging him at like minus 130. We were getting him at what, like minus 250 in Green Bay? And Carr's finding the dude wide open just like Rodgers was. So still bet his anytime touchdowns every week.
All right. Let's talk about the game of the day, though. The Bengals end up beating the Chiefs. So I'll give you guys your props there. I was on the Chiefs, Tyler on Talking Touchdowns. You and Kurt both had the Bengals, I believe. And you guys were absolutely right. You got to give credit to this Bengals defense. What they do is they're able to pressure Mahomes without blitzing. And they did blitz sometimes, right? But a lot of times that front four was getting pressure, and that was just enough for the Bengals to come through. Jamar Chase, of course, in that best wide receiver in the world conversation, and Joe Burrow's got swag. Hey, gave the Bills back the number one seed, but Joe Burrow's got swag, and I think this rivalry is a lot of fun. Overall, I thought it was just great for the NFL. It was a great afternoon game, and it lived up to the billing. What are your thoughts? Title.
Everything you said. Two great football teams, hard-fought game. Since he has to come back in the fourth quarter, does it at home without Joe Mixon as well. But P. Ryan's a beast, man. P. Ryan runs hard, so I'm not sure how big. Like if people are saying, which I'm not sure they are, like we won this game without Mixon, all that. I mean, yeah, maybe a little upgrade, but we know running backs don't matter nearly as much as the other positions. And I Mixon and P. Ryan, I don't look at too different for how P. Ryan's played. So. I mean, man, just great football game all around. The Bengals D impressed. Surprised Patrick Mahomes only dropped back 27 times. They just didn't run nearly as many plays as they usually do, though. The Bengals did well. They took the air out of the football, played pretty good defense, and the offense looks much better with Jamar Chase as we expected. So it's going to get fun. The AFC is a lot of fun this year.
It's like almost reminds me of the Western Conference NBA, like back in the 2000s, where all the good teams are on one conference.
And it was like that for so long in Western Conference. Finally switched a little bit.
Yeah. Our guy Michael was watching the World Cup. I just looked over. I had it on. I didn't even see any of the 4 goals. Tyler, what are your
didn't even know they were playing.
Yeah. What are your thoughts there on the Bengals and the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, it went well for me. I was on the Bengals. We talked about it on Friday. Also talked about it on Wednesday with Holden and Mangone. And just like Title just said, I mean, this AFC, I think at this point.
You got every pick right on that show, didn't you?
I think the only one I missed, I think I took the Chargers.
I told you. I said we always beat them.
Yeah, I went against you there. I thought Herbert was going to finally
But you went against me on all the other ones. You got it right. No.
Yeah, but the more I look at this AFC spread, just cut 4 pieces of paper, write down Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Miami on them, shake up the hat, and pull a name out.
Take Miami out of there.
I was going to say what spread said.
I mean, but so you're just taking the top 3? Because I think they can navigate their way through. But
how?
I mean, those receivers get open, spread. I mean, they did play a guy's pass rush in San Fran last week, but like if Tua hits these guys, they probably run away with that game. So,
dude, put Tua on like Cleveland. How do you think he looks? He sucks.
I mean, when you're in a good system,
you say Jimmy G's a product of a system, and I'm hearing Tua. You guys are giving Tua.
The other guy we talked about at the beginning of the show is a product of his system. Who? Lamar Jackson.
No, he's not. He can do that at any team.
Did you see him when he played for Joe Flacco's system when that first year? He sucked.
Well, his first year he came out with not being able to design a system,
but I'm saying you can throw him on any team and he's going to ball out.
He didn't look good until they designed that entire offense.
Well, of course he's not going to look good if you make the most dynamic runner you've ever seen a pocket passer.
Yeah, so you got to build a scheme around him.
Okay, to a certain extent, but I'm just saying Tua sucks. I don't understand how everybody trashes Jimmy G and then acts like Tua is just so freaking awesome when he's got even better weapons than Jimmy does. Who do you think has better weapons, Title? Niners or Dolphins? You got to say Dolphins with Tyreek and Waddle, right?
I was just say you're saying those two. Like, look at the running game with McCaffrey.
Yeah, I was about to say you're getting three running backs from San Fran, an
Jr.,
all-pro tight end.
But if you
fucking Travis got me saying Mostert.
Throw Jimmy G in Miami though, and the team. I mean, Jimmy G ain't. I'm not worried about them one bit. No, I ain't worried about. No,
throw Jimmy G in Miami. First of all, the population is going to be 9 billion by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean that could be.
Our quarterback might be out with different illnesses every week.
Exactly.
All right, Tyler. Anything more on that one before?
No, I just like that last comment in the chat. It's a funny one.
No, I like women. They actually even like me sometimes.
Another good thing, Robert pointed it out. He's saying take Buffalo out. Allen without his quarterback coach has massive turnover issues. Joe Brady just took the job to go to Oregon, so which means he's off that coaching staff. I don't know.
He's going to go till the end of the year, won't he?
Is he going to go to the end of the year? Because some of them guys
almost positive he is.
If he goes to the end of the year, then I'm a little more confident. Buffalo. If he's out as of right now, I might be getting more onto the Cincinnati side. They might work their way through this AFC again.
I think they might too. I mean,
because the more I look at Kansas City, I love them, but if they don't have extra weapons to complement Kelsey, their run game is non-existent. Pacheco sucks. They need to draft a good running back.
He's below average.
He sucks. Clyde Edwards sucks. McKinnon's their best running back, and he can't break through a goal line. He fell right on his ass. So they need a running back. Juju's a tight end. Kelsey's there. He also got knocked out again last game, so you got that going for him. Tony's hamstring can't stay healthy. I think Cincinnati's it again.
I can't argue there. I'm not going to take up for the Chiefs after we saw that yesterday, but I still think Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL.
I'm not arguing that one bit.
So COVID got me. I fell asleep by through the second quarter. I think it was 21-13 when I fell asleep on the Sunday night game. It ended up being 54-19. What happened, Title? Was it worth watching? And wow, great job Saturday.
I mean, it was just the fourth quarter. I turned it off, I think, halfway through the third or something like that. I was also tired. It was definitely a lot closer when I turned it off, but it was the Cowboys-Giants. All I saw, though, when I was laying in bed, my phone was going, touchdown Cowboys, this guy, Pollard, defensive touchdown, this. They just put it on him in the fourth quarter, and I didn't watch it. So
that's going to mess up my simplistic way I do power rankings, too. What do you think, Tyler?
I mean, this defense is just something else. They got to the point in that game where they were like, screw tackling, just jump every route. And if the dude catches the ball, the next guy up is just ripping it out of his hands. Like, They were not wrapping up. They were just going for the ball, and they were getting it every time. They technically scored a second defensive touchdown when they strip sacked Ryan. They just happened to say Ryan's foot touched the defender before he got up and ran away. So they should have had even more points on the board. This team's a huge threat to the NFC. I know that no one likes Dallas because of Mike McCarthy, and it's the Dallas Cowboys. They're always supposed to be good, but they've never been good. In this year's NFL, how many good teams are there? And how many elite teams are there? Not many. Dallas is probably one or two in the NFC, and I think they're going to be there in the end.
All right. Well, I can't argue that, especially because, like I said, I couldn't even stay awake for that whole game. All right, guys, we went a little long, but the next show doesn't start till 12, so we still have time. Let's talk about tonight. Tyler, I'll start with you from a betting perspective. Let me pull this line up. I had the NBA lines up. as I'm trying to get in there on that Heat game. It didn't move, like you said. The New Orleans Saints are plus 3.5 now. Total of 41 here in Tampa Bay, taking on the Buccaneers. Normally we'd like Tampa, but the Saints always beat the Bucs, right, Tyler? Although I don't know if that happened earlier this year, but up until the game earlier this year, and then of course the playoff series, the Saints had just been winning regular season game over and over against the Buccaneers. How do we approach tonight, Tyler?
It's a tough one. I mean, Tampa has looked better as of recent weeks. They've been winning games. They did lose the game to Cleveland last week where it was a tight game. But looking at this injury report, if Marshawn Lattimore and these guys are back in on this defense for the Saints, I think I have to take the shot with them. Tampa Bay did beat the Saints early in the year. That was also with Winston throwing 2 pick sixes late in the game. Okay. Made that score look a little better. I know Dalton could be susceptible to that here too, but they also lost another offensive lineman for Tampa Bay. We've seen they couldn't protect Brady before. You lose the last good one you got for this game. I got to take the Saints here. Give me their money line. I think they win the game outright.
Tyler, do you worry that Dennis Allen lost the Saints locker room by starting dusty Andy Dalton instead of fan favorite Jameis Winston?
No, I don't think so. I'm just going to keep blind betting against Brady, especially at dog money. This offense, Brady doesn't.
Are you taking the money line or taking the points?
Man, you see him 3.5. Like if it was 3, I would definitely be on the money line. That half with the hook. I mean, the field goal, you can still get it done. So I'd probably go plus 3.5. I mean, why not half a unit on that on plus 3.5 and half a unit on the money line? Do it that way.
All right. Well, Tyler, you're doing an excellent job kind of getting us started building some lineups here for the Monday night games. And hey, you usually just pull it up and, it just comes to you. It just shows you, just some guys are just naturally talented. Looks like you're one of those guys. So pull up that DraftKings. Let us know who you like in the captain slot and who we should be pairing with it. Like what type of build are you looking for? We're going 4-2 New Orleans here. What are you thinking?
I assume 3-3 will probably be popular. Maybe even, again, just pulled it up. I'm looking at the pricing. Maybe 4-2 Saints will even be a little more popular than 4-2 Buccaneers, just how the pricing is. It looks like the pricing is much better for the Saints, and you have to pay. It's harder to fit multiple bucks, especially if you want the big ones, the Evans, the Bradys, the Godwins, all of that of the world. I will say, so the first guy I'm plugging my core, it's going to go in the flex though, is Ryan Suckup. If I think the offense stalls out, I don't love the Buccaneers as much. And I don't play Tom Brady, who's going to be probably the most popular guy, one of the most popular guys on the slate. Ryan Suckup, you get a little leverage that way. The drive stalls. Brady doesn't get the end zone. You get the points there. It all works there. Alvin Kamara, I'm going to put him at the captain. Again, I think they're leading. I think they win. I think Suckup stalls out. Kamara gets the ball more. It's a good game script there. And then the last guy, man, the last one's a little tougher. Jarvis or Olave, Tyler. Obviously, prices matter. Olave is 8.4K. Jarvis is 5.2. But I want a pass catcher there. Any lean?
Judging by, let's pull up this injury report. Murphy Bunning, doubtful cornerback. Both safeties, doubtful. Give me the guy that's going to blow the top off. Give me Olave.
I like it. So there we go.
Tyler, are you going to rock with Kamara as captain as well?
I'm probably going with the guy we just talked about. I will probably have a Kamara captain lineup too. I think this could be where Olave has multiple touchdowns, over 100 yards. If all these secondary guys are out for Tampa, I just don't see how they cover them.
All right. Do you have any props for this game?
I would bet his anytime touchdown and his longest reception as of right now. And with me liking them to win the game, the touchdown scorers plus the money line. I mean, Alvin Kamara to score a touchdown here and the Saints wins is 3-1. Wow. I love that at that odds. If you think Olave gets in, it's plus 490 for them to win the game and he gets in. I see guys talking about Troutman in the chat. Troutman to score a touchdown, the Saints wins is plus 850. I think there's some routes to get on the Saints here with touchdown scorers in the win because I think they make this game look pretty easy.
All right. Is Fournette back this week? Chat's asking.
Questionable as of right now.
What do they think this is? The NBA?
There's a laundry list on both sides here.
Yeah. All right, Title. Anything more from this game before we sign off?
No, I don't think so. We got football on the screen. We got a good amount of NBA games Monday night. It's going to be a good one.
Now, are you doing a hardwood today?
Every Monday, 2:40 or 4:45 Eastern, 2:45 my time. Hoop, AP, myself breaking down. What do we got today? 8 games, 10 games?
8-game slate.
8-game slate. Breaking down the 8-game NBA slate.
And Jokic isn't on it, so Tyler's so disappointed. All
I
right.
have no clue who's on it.
Tyler's favorite spend-up was Embiid.
Embiid? All right.
Yeah,
You
he
can
likes
always get
Embiid
behind
tonight.
Embiid.
Yeah, he liked Embiid tonight, going against the Houston Rockets, and it's tough for me to argue there.
Yeah.
All right, so of course there you have it. If you're subscribed, you're going to be notified when we go live for any one of these shows, including the Showdown show, where they're going to talk about this game much more in depth than we just did here. And of course, that's with our Showdown master, Big T, and the crew. So make sure you give us a thumbs up, because we're here Monday and Friday talking touchdowns with you. Today was fun. We get to review, and even though it was a morning day for me, we still had a great time and had a good time talking football, and even got to get into some interesting 1v1 discussions, right? It's kind of peppering you guys there. You can tell my COVID brain's kind of wearing off as we can decide who's better than Mike White. And and that's what we did here on Talking Touchdowns. Title, any words of wisdom before we sign off?
Make some money, make some cheese. But what do they say? Bet responsibly. And Faxman says, don't bet responsibly. Go get it back or something. Just have a good night. Bet on some NBA. Bet on some NFL. Watch some winners. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right, there you have it. Showdown will be next, and then Title will be back. So run pure.